What does it truly mean to talk to a woman and dominate her mind? Not like a desperate nice guy, but like a strategist who knows exactly what he says and why he says it. Most men fail because they speak from weakness, from need, from a craving to be liked. And every word they speak only proves they are forgettable. But a man who understands psychology, a man who knows how to transmit power in silence and presence, that man does not just talk, he invades her mind. This is not about tricks or cheap lines. This is about Machiavelli's darker truths applied to desire. Truths that turn words into weapons and silence into control. And before we go deeper, subscribe to Cyvoria, because here we do not play safe. We uncover the realities of power, desire, and domination that others are too afraid to speak of. Part 1. Kill the need to please. The first mistake almost every man makes when speaking to a woman is that he comes from need, from a desperate urge to be liked, validated, approved. He tries to be funny. He tries to impress. He tries to earn her attention as if it were a prize. But the very moment he does this, he loses, because the one who seeks approval already admits he is beneath her. And once she senses that, she can never desire him. Machiavelli understood that power is not negotiated. It is imposed, not by shouting or force, but by standing firm in who you are. When you speak to a woman, you are not exchanging words, you are exchanging power. If you speak to her like a boy chasing validation, you will become her brother or her friend, but never the man she truly craves. If you speak to her like a man who is detached from outcome, who is not impressed by her beauty, who can walk away without flinching, she will feel something entirely different. She will feel curiosity. She will feel unsettled. She will feel the pull of a presence she cannot control. And that is where desire is born, not from words, but from tension, from uncertainty, from a man who does not beg to be heard but allows silence to work for him. If you want to dominate her mind, you must first dominate your own neediness. You must kill the child inside you who explains himself, who apologizes for existing, who thinks love is earned through overgiving. Speak to her as if you could leave at any moment and still remain complete. That is the first step, the foundation of all Machiavellian psychology. Until you kill the need to please, you will never control the game, because she will always know you are just another man trying to be liked, and men like that are forgotten. Part 2. Speak to her ego, not her ears. When you open your mouth, she is not listening for logic. She is scanning for power. In the first seconds, she already feels your energy. She already knows if you're nervous, if you are desperate, if you're secretly asking for her validation. And once she senses weakness, it is over. A woman does not remember exactly what you said. She remembers how you made her feel. That is why most men lose. They speak in straight lines, predictable, safe, hoping to be liked. But desire is not born in safety. Desire lives in the unknown, in the contradiction, in the emotional confusion that forces her mind to work. Machiavelli knew that appearances matter more than reality, that men judge more by what they see than by what is. Women too. She does not care if your words are clever. She cares if your tone carries authority. She does not care if your story is interesting. She cares if your silence makes her heart race. You must learn the art of ambiguity. Say things that make her think, not things that explain. Let her imagination fill the spaces you leave open. When you tell her, those eyes must be hiding more than one secret. You are not complimenting her beauty. You are planting a question inside her mind that she cannot shake. That is how you dominate a conversation without speaking too much. You are not there to prove yourself. You are not there to make her laugh. You are there to pull her ego into a game where she cannot predict you, where she cannot control you, where she feels you are the one deciding the pace. And once she feels that, she cannot forget you, because you have touched the one thing no other man dares to touch, her sense of control. Part 3. Presence before words. Long before you speak, you are already in the conversation. The moment you enter her field of vision, the game begins. Your walk, your posture, your silence, your gaze, These tell her more than any line you could prepare. Most men wait for the perfect sentence to break the ice, not realizing she has already judged them in seconds. If your body transmits anxiety, neediness, weakness, you lost before you even said hello. But if you enter with calm, slow movement, controlled stillness, she feels it. Machiavelli warned that a prince must appear powerful before he acts. The same law applies here. You must appear unshaken, self-contained, already desired. Presence is not arrogance. It is not loudness. Presence is silent ownership of space, the feeling that you are not chasing anyone, that you are not asking for permission to exist, that you are simply there, fully unmovable. When you finally speak, your energy should arrive before your voice. Look at her before you greet her. Hold your gaze without neediness, as if her reaction is irrelevant. That detachment unsettles her because it flips the script. Most men are desperate to please, desperate to gain approval. But you act as if you're already the prize. And in that moment, her mind begins to race. Why does he feel untouchable? Why does he seem so calm? What does he know that I do not? That confusion is where attraction begins. Presence is the frame. Words are only decoration. If your frame is weak, your words fall flat. If your presence is strong, even silence becomes seductive. Part 4. Ambiguity creates obsession. If you want to dominate a woman's mind, you cannot give her certainty. Certainty kills desire. When everything is clear, when every intention is explained, when every feeling is confessed, she relaxes. And when she relaxes too soon, she loses interest. What keeps her thinking about you long after you are gone is ambiguity, the unfinished thought, the unanswered question, the double meaning that lingers in her head. Most men destroy attraction by overexplaining, by handing over all of themselves in the first few minutes. They flood her with compliments, with predictable lines, with desperate validation. But you must do the opposite. You speak in ways that can be interpreted in more than one direction. Instead of saying you are beautiful, you say there's something in your eyes that feels dangerous. That one line forces her mind to work. Is he complimenting me? Is he warning me? What did he mean by dangerous? And because the mind hates uncertainty, she replays it again and again. Machiavelli knew this well, for power often lives not in answers, but in mystery. What people cannot define, they cannot control. And this is the secret. Do not give her control. Make her imagine. Make her fill the silence. Make her interpret the hidden meaning. When she does, you're no longer just speaking. You are planting seeds inside her psychology. She is not obsessed with what you said. She's obsessed with what you did not say. And that is how ambiguity turns into obsession. How your silence becomes louder than another man's entire performance. Part 5. Control through imbalance. When you speak to a woman with the intention of dominating her mind, you must never give her total balance. Balance is comfort, and comfort kills attraction. Instead, you create a controlled imbalance where she's never entirely certain if you're fully invested or just passing through. This is not about being cruel. It is about creating emotional tension, the kind of tension that fuels desire. Most men hand over everything at once. Endless availability, constant reassurance, instant replies, a river of attention. And what happens? She drowns. She takes it for granted. She loses the thrill. But the man who understands Machiavelli knows better. He gives in doses, never predictable, never on demand. He is attentive one moment and distant the next, calm in silence, and then suddenly intense in presence. This leaves her questioning, not in despair, but in fascination. Does he want me? Does he not? Why does he seem so unmoved by my beauty? Why do I feel the need to prove myself to him? And in that imbalance, you are not chasing her. You are making her chase equilibrium inside herself. An equilibrium she cannot reach without you. Machiavelli warned that to maintain power, you must be both generous and ruthless, but you decide when and how. With women, this translates to showing warmth but never making it unconditional, showing interest but never making it endless. Because the moment she feels you cannot be lost, she will lose interest in winning you. Create that controlled imbalance, and she will never stop fighting to understand you, to decode you, to capture you. And in that fight, you dominate her mind without lifting a finger. Part 6. Speak with ambiguity. Direct words are predictable, and predictability is the death of desire. When you speak with ambiguity, you force her to think, to interpret, to imagine. And what she imagines will always be stronger than anything you could say outright. Instead of flat compliments that every man repeats, you drop a line that can mean two things at once, something that unsettles her certainty and lingers in her mind. Ambiguity creates curiosity. Curiosity creates imagination, and imagination creates obsession. Machiavelli knew the power of words that could not be pinned down, because people will fill the silence with their own meaning. And when she does, she is no longer listening to you. She is talking to herself about you. That is how you dominate her mind without ever raising your voice. Part 7. Control the flow of the conversation. Most men think talking means filling every silence, proving themselves with stories, jokes, or endless questions. That only exposes neediness. A Machiavellian man does not rush. He guides, he directs, but he never forces. He treats every exchange as a dance, where his role is to lead while making her feel like she is the one moving. He shifts the topic not to facts, but to emotions, because emotions are where attraction is born. A simple question can be redirected into something deeper, something she did not expect, something that makes her pause and reflect. When she mentions work, you do not stay in a world of details. You shift it toward instinct, control, desire. This subtle steering is dominance disguised as conversation. She does not feel pushed, she feels pulled, as if the current of the talk belongs to you alone. And when she realizes she is following without resistance, that is when the power is yours. Part 8. Leave her with a psychological hook. A conversation should never end with closure. It should end with tension. Most men reveal everything. They explain too much. They rush to impress. And in doing so, they kill the mystery. A Machiavellian man does the opposite. He plants a seed in her mind and leaves it unfinished. It can be a phrase with double meaning, a glance that suggests more than it says, or a silence that makes her wonder what you are truly thinking. For example, instead of complimenting her directly, you might say, "There is something about you that feels dangerous, but I cannot decide if that is good or bad." Then you stop. No explanation, no smile, only calm silence. That silence works harder than any words because it forces her mind to replay the moment again and again. And every time she does, you are there. This is not manipulation, it is mastery, the art of speaking less while making her feel more. That is how you dominate a woman's mind, not by what you say, but by what you refuse to finish saying. Now you understand that talking to a woman is never about impressing her with rehearsed lines or begging for her attention. It is about dominating the atmosphere with your presence, your tone, and your silence. It is about speaking less, but making every word feel heavier than gold. This is what Machiavelli would have taught if he were alive today. That power in conversation is not given, it is taken, and it is taken not through approval seeking, but through control. If you found value in this, and you are ready to step deeper into the world of dark psychology, subscribe to Cyvoria right now. Join the growing circle of men who are done playing fair and done living beneath their own potential. Share this video with someone who needs to hear the truth that words are not just communication, they are weapons. And when used correctly, they bend reality itself. The choice is yours. Stay ordinary or become unforgettable. Stay quiet or learn to dominate the silence. Stay in the crowd or step into the mind of Machiavelli.